The gym still smelled like fresh paint. Rows of folding chairs, blue and gold balloons swaying by the stage. I sat there in my cap and gown, sweating through the collar, watching my name blink on the screen. Marcus Webb, valedictorian. I should have felt proud. Instead, my stomach was in knots because I knew he was somewhere in that crowd. My older brother, Derek. 3 days before graduation, he'd looked me dead in the eye at Mom's kitchen table and said it plain. "You're not smart, Marcus. You're not special. You'll be lucky to keep a job flipping burgers." Mom had gone quiet. Dad had just stared at his coffee. Nobody defended me. Nobody ever did. Now, up on that stage, I found his face in the crowd, arms crossed, smirking, like he was waiting for me to trip walking up the steps. I gripped my diploma folder tighter and told myself it didn't matter anymore. Then my phone buzzed in my pocket. 7:44 a.m., 1 minute before the ceremony ended. I wasn't supposed to check it, but something told me to look. And when I did, my hands started shaking. The text was from an unknown number, just a photo, no caption. My eyes locked onto it, and the gym noise faded into nothing. It was Derek, standing outside our house last night, in the dark, holding a gas can. My mouth went dry. I looked up, and he was still there in the crowd, still smirking, checking his own phone like nothing had happened. Did he know I'd gotten this? Did he send it himself by mistake, or did someone else want me to see it? I thought about our house, Mom's rose garden out front, Dad's old truck in the driveway. The house Derek had been begging Dad to sign over to him for months, ever since his construction business started bleeding money. My name got called again over the speaker. Somewhere in the fog, I stood, walked, shook a hand, took a folder. I don't even remember it. When I sat back down, my phone buzzed again. A second text. 3 words. Ask him why. My chest tightened. Derek caught me staring at him from across the gym. His smile faded, just for a second, like he saw something in my face he didn't expect. Then the ceremony ended, and everyone stood up, clapping. I wasn't clapping. I was staring at my brother, and for the first time in my life, I was afraid of him. Outside, the sun was too bright. The kind of morning that makes everything look normal when it isn't. Parents hugging, cameras flashing. My mom found me first, pulling me into a hug that smelled like her lavender perfume. "I'm so proud of you, baby," she whispered. I hugged her back, but my eyes were scanning the crowd for Derek. He was leaning against a pillar near the parking lot, arms still crossed, watching me the way a cat watches something it's deciding whether to play with or destroy. Dad came over next, gave me a stiff handshake instead of a hug, like always. "Good job, son." 3 words. That's all I ever got from him. I almost showed him the photo right there. My thumb hovered over my phone, but something stopped me. If I was wrong, if this was some kind of setup, I'd blow up my family over nothing. So instead, I walked straight toward Derek. "We need to talk," I said. His jaw tightened. About what? About last night. Something flickered behind his eyes. Fear, maybe, or guilt. He glanced past me at our parents, then lowered his voice. "Not here," he said. "Meet me at the house, alone." Then he turned and walked to his truck without another word, leaving me standing there in my cap and gown, holding a diploma in one hand and a stranger's warning in the other.
I told Mom I'd catch up with them later, that I wanted to swing by the house before the family lunch. She didn't ask questions. She never did when it came to Derek and me working things out. The drive home felt longer than it ever had. Every red light, every stop sign, I kept replaying that photo in my head. The gas can, the dark porch, Derek's face half lit by our motion sensor light. Why would my own brother be standing outside our house with something like that? unless it wasn't about burning it down, unless it was about something else. I pulled into the driveway behind his truck. The house looked exactly like it always had. White shutters, Mom's roses blooming along the walkway, nothing out of place. Derek was sitting on the porch steps when I got out, elbows on his knees, staring at the ground like a man waiting for a verdict. "You gonna show me the picture?" he asked without looking up. My stomach dropped. "How do you know about the picture?" He finally looked at me, and for the first time in years, I didn't see the mocking brother from the graduation stage. I saw something else, something tired, something scared. "Because I sent it to you myself," he said. I stood frozen on the walkway, diploma folder still tucked under my arm. "You sent it? Why would you send yourself standing there with a gas can?" Derek rubbed his faces over his hands. "Because I needed you to ask questions before it was too late. I couldn't just tell you outright. I didn't know who might be listening." None of it made sense. Listening to what? "Derek, what is going on?" He stood up, glancing toward the street like he expected someone to be watching. "Sit down," he said. "This is going to take a minute and you're not going to like it." I didn't move. "Just tell me." "Dad's business partner, Ray Calloway." Derek's voice dropped low. "He's been coming around the house for months while you were at school, talking to Dad about the construction company, about insurance, about the house." My blood went cold. Ray had been at every family barbecue since I was 12. I called him Uncle Ray. 2 weeks ago, I found paperwork in Dad's office, a life insurance policy on this house, filed right before Ray's company started losing contracts, right before Dad started acting different, quiet, scared. He looked at me dead serious. "Marcus, I think Ray is planning to burn this house down, and I think he wants it to look like it was me." My knees felt weak. "That's insane, Derek. Why would Ray want to burn down our house?" "Insurance money, but not just from the fire, from something bigger." He pulled his phone out and showed me a photo of a document, corners worn like it had been folded and unfolded 100 times. A property insurance policy with a payout number that made my stomach turn. $2 million. Dad took out a policy that big on this house? We don't even own anything worth that. That's the thing. Ray convinced him it was a smart investment, said the neighborhood was about to explode in value. Dad trusted him, signed whatever Ray put in front of him. I thought about Dad's quiet moods lately, the way he'd stopped watching baseball with me on Sundays, the way his hands shook sometimes when he thought nobody was looking. So why the gas can photo? Why make it look like it was you? Derek's jaw tightened. Because 2 nights ago, I caught Ray in the backyard at 2 a.m. He saw me, and I think he's planning to set the fire soon and pin it on me so Dad's precious business partner walks away clean. "So the picture," I said slowly, "you took it yourself, to have proof in case something happened to you." Derek nodded. "I set up a trail cam by the shed after that night, caught myself checking the perimeter. I figured if anything happened to this house or to me, I wanted someone to know I was here trying to stop it, not start it." My hands were shaking now. "Why didn't you just tell Dad?" Derek's voice cracked for the first time since I could remember. "I tried. He wouldn't listen. Said Ray's been his friend for 20 years. Said I was just trying to cause trouble because my business is struggling and I'm jealous of what Ray built."
That stung, hearing it out loud. I always figured Derek was jealous of somebody. I just never thought it went that deep, that Dad would say something like that to his own son. "So what do we do?" I asked. Derek looked toward the house, toward Mom's rose garden, toward the porch where we used to sit as kids waiting for the ice cream truck. "We need proof Ray's planning this before he does it," he said. "Real proof, something Dad can't argue with." He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small black recorder. "I've been wearing this every time Ray comes around. I think tonight's the night he makes his move." My chest tightened. "Tonight? How do you know?" Ray called Dad an hour ago, told him he needed to swing by tonight to go over some paperwork, said it was urgent. Dad's letting him in around 9. Mom's taking you and her out for that graduation dinner, remember? The one at Bellini's? I did remember. Mom had been talking about that reservation for weeks. So the house will be empty except for Dad, I said, the pieces falling into place. And Ray. Derek nodded. I think tonight's when he does it. Empty house except Dad, who trusts him completely. Easy to convince him to step outside for something. Easy to make it look like faulty wiring or a stray ember from the grill. And if anyone asks questions later, there's a story ready-made about a jealous, broke son who was seen sneaking around back here at night. I felt sick. My own brother set up to take the fall for a fire that hadn't even happened yet. We have to tell Dad, I said, right now. He won't believe us without proof, not against Ray. But if we can catch this on tape tonight, catch him saying something incriminating, Dad won't have a choice. He looked at me, dead serious. I need your help, Marcus. I can't do this alone. For the first time since I could remember, my brother needed me. I told Mom I had a headache, that I needed to skip dinner and rest before the family lunch tomorrow. She frowned but let it go, too excited about her reservation to push back. Dad barely looked up from his phone when she told me I was staying home. By 8:30, the house was empty, except for me. Derek parked 2 streets over and slipped in through the back gate, staying low along the fence line where Mom's rose bushes blocked the view from the street. We hid in the garage, door cracked just enough to see the driveway and hear the porch. At 9:04, Ray's silver sedan pulled up. He got out slow, glancing around the yard before walking up to the porch. Something about the way he moved felt different from every barbecue I remembered. Calculated, careful, like a man checking for witnesses instead of visiting a friend. Dad opened the door before Ray even knocked. Right on time, Dad said, smiling. Wanted to make sure we had privacy. This paperwork can't wait. Derek's hand found my shoulder in the dark, gripping tight. His recorder was already running, tucked in his jacket pocket. Red light blinking so faint you'd never notice unless you knew to look. Once he's inside, Derek whispered, we move to the side window. That's our only shot at hearing everything. My heart pounded so hard I was sure they'd hear it through the walls. We crept along the side of the house, staying low beneath the windows, the grass damp under our shoes. Through the gap in the curtains, I could see Dad sitting at the kitchen table, papers spread out in front of him, Ray standing over his shoulder like he owned the place. Just need your signature here, Ray was saying, sliding a page across the table. This releases the old policy so we can activate the new one before month's end. And you're sure this is legal? Dad asked. The numbers seem awfully high for a house this size. Ray chuckled. Easy, practiced. Frank, I've been in this business 30 years. Trust me, this is the smartest move you'll make all year. Derek's hand tightened on my arm. This was it, the moment we needed on tape. But then Ray's phone rang. He excused himself, stepping toward the back door, close enough that we had to flatten ourselves against the siding to stay hidden. It's done, Ray said quietly into the phone. Signing now. Just need the place empty by 11 so the guy can get in and out clean. My stomach turned to ice. There it was, confirmed. Then Ray turned his head slightly, and his eyes locked directly on the gap in the fence where Derek was crouched.
I'll call you back, Ray said into the phone, voice suddenly sharp. Someone's out here. Derek grabbed my sleeve and yanked me down flat against the dirt, just as the back door creaked open. Ray stepped onto the porch, flashlight beam cutting through the dark, sweeping across the yard inch by inch. I held my breath so hard my chest ached. The light passed over the fence, over the rose bushes, stopping just short of where we lay pressed into the shadows. Probably a raccoon, Dad called from inside. They've been getting into the trash again. Ray lingered a moment longer, flashlight beam trembling slightly, like he wanted to be sure. Then he stepped back inside, the door clicking shut behind him. Derek let out a shaky breath beside me. I was too close. We have what we need, I whispered. The recording. Let's go before he checks again. We army crawled back along the fence line to the gate, hearts pounding, until we were finally out on the street, hidden behind Derek's truck 2 houses down. He pulled out the recorder with shaking hands and hit play just to be sure. Ray's voice came through clear as day. "It's done. Signing now. Just need the place empty by 11 so the guy can get in and out clean." Derek looked at me, eyes wide. "That's our proof, Marcus. That's everything." But then headlights swung around the corner behind us, slow, deliberate, and my stomach dropped when I recognized Ray's silver sedan pulling out of the driveway early, way earlier than 11. We ducked behind a parked car as Ray's sedan rolled past, slow, headlights sweeping the street like he was searching for something or someone. My heart slammed against my ribs until his taillights finally disappeared around the corner. "He's spooked," Derek said. "We need to get this to Dad tonight before Ray tries something else." We walked back into that kitchen together, recorder in hand, and I watched my father's face crumble as he heard Ray's own voice confirm everything Derek had tried to warn him about for weeks. Dad sat there staring at the paperwork like it had turned to ash in his hands. 20 years, he whispered. 20 years I trusted that man. By morning, the police had Ray's recorded confession, the forged insurance documents, and a paper trail leading straight to 2 other house fires in the county nobody had ever questioned before. Ray Calloway was arrested before noon. The next day, at exactly 7:45 a.m., my phone buzzed again. This time, it was Derek. Just a photo of us both, standing outside the house, sunlight hitting the porch where none of it had burned down. No caption needed. I used to think my brother saw nothing in me but failure. Turns out, the whole time, he saw something worth protecting. And I finally understood that family isn't about who believes in you loudest. It's about who shows up when everything's on fire, literally, and refuses to let you burn alone.